Hey, what's up guys, it's Dom from WHOLEPRINTING Inc. I've started DTF printing around 2 years ago. In this class, you will learn how to take your DTF printer from the crate all the way to a print. When starting this journey, it's normal to feel overwhelmed, lost, confused, angry and frustrated, and many other emotions are gonna come up. I've made this class to help my younger self. I wish this class existed when I got my new direct-to-film printer. Follow along in these videos and send us a question via email wholesprinting@gmail.com if you have any further questions. Happy printing. So guys, let's go over what is direct-to-film printing. Now, I would be lying if I would tell you guys that I know exactly how it works and exactly what it is. The only thing I do want to say, guys, is I would compare it to like HTV vinyl mixed with screen printing. That's the most simple way to explain it. It's basically your traditional, printer, like the printer we have right there. Sorry for the couch. Like the printer we have right there, guys. You put your paper in, you take an image that you want, you make a print, you flip it upside down, not upside down, but you just flip it so it prints on the reverse side. It goes in the printer. You put the powder on, which makes it like stick to the garment. You heat up the powder, and then you place some heat on the garment, and it makes the powder and the ink stick together, and the powder sticks to the garment, which gives you your final product, which looks something a little like this, guys. When it's done, really nice. It has a nice feel to it. You can feel it. It's not like sublimation, which it's really inside of the t-shirt. It lays on top, but I would compare it to plastisol ink. Even a bit lighter than that, but really nice. So guys, this was basically explaining like what it is. If you want to learn a bit more in depth, I have a link, and it's going to be directly to our website. It explains direct to film in detail, what it is, how it works, and all that type of good stuff. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure to take a look at the description. And yeah, let's get right into the next segment. So guys, in this quick segment, we'll be covering what you need. So the first thing I'd suggest you guys buy, if you don't have the budget to buy this direct-to-film printer straight up, I would buy these direct-to-film printed sheets. You can print how many ever logos you can fit on this 16 by 11 sheet, and we will ship out the same day. As you can see, the quality is amazing. We obviously have a lot of YouTube videos on how to properly peel these sheets. After you've tested out these direct-to-film printed sheets, if you do like direct-to-film printing, you can buy a printer. From there, after you bought the printer, you want to buy some direct-to-film film. We have direct-to-film films for sale on our website. All these links will be in the description down below, so do make sure you guys go take a look. After you've bought your printer, your sheets, you want to buy an oven. We have two. This is the one we're using. This is our oldest model. After you've bought the oven, you want to make sure you have some powder. And the oven is actually optional. I just want to go back to this oven for 1 second. We'll have a full-on video a bit further down in the course on how to do it with the heat press, but we suggest that you go buy the oven even though the investment is like $700. I do suggest you guys buy the oven. It's going to make your task and your experience a whole lot easier and better. After that, you got your direct-to-film powder. You have white powder and you got your black powder. And I just suggest you guys buy the white powder for now. You want to make sure that your white powder stays in a dry, cool space without any dust particles that can go in it. After that, you want to buy some ink. We obviously have ink for sale down in the description down below. After that, you want to have a heat press to be able to actually apply those direct-to-film prints on garments or whatever you're printing on. And also, guys, the last and final thing I would buy is a cutter to be actually able to properly cut your direct-to-film sheets properly. Always cut them straight. So this cutter just makes it a whole lot easier to, make your direct-to-film prints easier to apply and quicker to apply. Everything's about time and efficiency, guys, so this is a no-brainer. It's like 20-40 bucks on Amazon. Also, a minor investment that you guys can buy to be able to center your direct-to-film prints would be this measuring tape. And guys, if you do have the extra budget, I would highly suggest you guys go and pick up another print head. So another print head for your direct-to-film printer is around like 400 bucks, and it's going to make sure to mitigate any sort of lost time in production if ever your print head breaks down or clogs or whatever happens. You really don't want to deal with that and have to wait like a week or two for the print head to pull up. So that would be my biggest concern if you guys have like $500 laying around, and you want to properly invest it to make sure that this direct-to-film printer never clogs or never breaks down, and if it does, you have the proper solutions to be able to fix it right here and there on the spot. Alright guys, before we get into the actual unboxing, I want to just give a big disclaimer that the printer that we bought is a used one. We're going to fix this one up, and the reason we're doing this on the used one is so we can show you guys the process from crate to unboxing and all these steps to direct to film, so you guys can have a step-by-step process from crate to actually printing a sheet inside your direct-to-film printer. Your DTF will obviously come inside this crate. Once you open up the crate, you can put it on a table, and the best thing I suggest, guys, is have a big enough table that is sturdy to be able to put your components and really see what you're working with. The first thing I want you guys to find is the instruction video and the RIP software. Put these two USBs to the side for now. From there, guys, what I would like you to do is, if you're going to be putting your direct-to-film printer on a sort of table, I want you guys to go buy these little felt things. You can find them at dollar stores. These felt things, you can put them under these, under the actual, you know, things of the printer. Obviously, this is really an optional step. This will ensure that if ever you have to like move your DTF printer, it's going to be really easy to move it around the table and stuff like that. But that's an optional step. From there, guys, inspect your printer. Make sure that your printer is in proper condition. Obviously, ours is broken already, so there's no worries there. But just make sure, guys, the printer is in optimal condition. Take a look at everything, and from there, make sure you have every single part. So, like I said, make sure you have these two USBs. You have your direct-to-film printer. If you bought the bundle, it should come with the oven that we'll show in the next segment. It should come with a bit of ink and sheets if you bought the bundle. And then from there, you're going to have your USB cable to connect the printer to your computer. And maybe your cable might be a bit smaller, but it's going to be the same output as this. So just look out for that, guys. That's to connect to your computer. And this is the power outage, which is going to be connecting from your direct-to-film printer to a plug in the wall. So guys, make sure you have that. And this is the component which will be going in front of your direct-to-film printer. So when the sheet goes inside your direct-to-film printer, it has something to go out of. So guys, that's pretty much what you should expect if you bought a direct-to-film printer. Now we're going to show you guys what you can expect if you bought the direct-to-film printer bundle. The only thing, guys, we won't be showing you is the ink and the sheets, since all ink and sheets will be a bit different. So guys, this is the oven we bought with the direct-to-film printer. As you guys can see, the screws inside are just to be able to screw the handle, which is here on the actual oven. And we have the power outage, which is coming out from here, but we do not use this oven, so that's why it's here. We use this oven, which we have spray painted white, so that's why there's white here. But anyways, that was a little fail on our part. But besides that, guys, the main important thing that you need to realize about this oven is, as long as you have a good power outage, which we will get into when we talk about the environment and the setup. So just take note that you need to have a nice space for your oven, and make sure that you have good ventilation. Alright guys, so let's talk about the DTF oven. If you have a direct-to-film oven, a few tips and tricks. Make sure you have a proper plug. So our plug is actually 20 amps. This 20 amp plugs ensures that the direct-to-film oven has sufficient power and it doesn't make our, breaker go on and off each time. We also have a reset button, so before that the actual oven makes our breaker go off, it actually jumps this little breaker that we can conveniently just press and reset. So having this little setup really saves us a lot of time and also protects us a lot. Now, be cautious with this direct-to-film oven. Never leave it unattended. And just make sure that you always keep an eye on the temperature, making sure it's the appropriate temperature that you set it up to. We will get into this further on as we move. And also, just make sure you're close to a window that can be open and the vents are slightly open on your direct-to-film oven. This is not a proper example. This oven is not turned on and is not plugged in. This is only for storage, conveniently placed, but never have obviously something like an oven which doesn't have a venting, which is on a closed space. This is a no-go. Obviously, this is the perfect example. We have our vent right here, and it has a nice enough ceiling which is close to a window. If ever we are to, you know, have these big production days, we can just slightly open the window and the excess fumes will be able to go out. So guys, this is pretty much the little tips and tricks we have for the oven, for the environmental setup. Moving on to the direct-to-film printer, we want to make sure that you guys have these few things before we get started. Now, when installing your direct-to-film printer, make sure you're close to a plug, okay? Because the cord is pretty small. So in this case, with this direct-to-film printer, if we were to set it up here, we would have to have a nice enough extension cord to be able to plug into the direct-to-film printer. Now, if you are to buy an extension cord, make sure it is very, very good quality, and it can't be too long, because if it's too long, it won't be able to handle the direct-to-film printers. Now, what we've learned from experience, guys, is having two direct-to-film printers on 15 amps is not good, guys. And basically what we would suggest is having one direct-to-film printer on 15 amps and having one direct-to-film oven on 20 amps. But we're not electricians. The best thing to do, guys, is to get local electricians to be informed and to make a proper decision from there what you guys would like to do. But this is just a quick heads up, so you guys make a proper choice when deciding where to place your direct-to-film printer. Ideally, have a lot of these plugs nearby so you can have individual items on individual plugs. So let's say you have your computer on a separate plug which is connected to a separate breaker. Having these things for all of these separate items would be ideal, and try to avoid, you know, having long extension cords and stuff like that. Now from there, the actual placement of your environment is very important. What we suggest is you have your direct-to-film printer close to a wall, which includes a plug. From there, having your direct-to-film printer close to your computer is very crucial. From there, having your computer close to your direct-to-film printer, which is close to your supplies and powder, is very useful. So we have our black powder here. From there, we have our white powder, which is conveniently placed right next to our direct-to-film printers. From there, we have all our maintenance supplies, all our syringes and stuff like that, head cleaning tools. And from there, guys, we have all our papers, which are conveniently placed next to our direct-to-film printers. From there, guys, here we got some empty storage where we place our powders, and our inks are here. Everything is placed conveniently very, very tight and close. All our wires are underneath. There's a power bank there. All is very tight and close, and the reason I'm showing you this, guys, is so you make a educated choice of where you will place your things. We have our splash zone right here. So guys, if you don't have this, what we suggest is you do something like this with a plastic, so once the ink goes out of the printer, it doesn't splash on anything important. Having all of this very close is very, very convenient. From here, we can take our print, it goes inside the printer, it comes out, we take our print, we put the powder, and then we put it inside the oven, and we can heat press it. Having our heat presses close, and our cutter, and our trash can. Everything is very, very tight and conveniently placed to save as much steps and unused movements as possible. Having this setup is a perfect example of how to maximize your working environment. Let us know what you guys think about this setup, but this is mainly so you guys can make an educated choice of how and where to place your direct-to-film printer before you even start your printing journey. Alright guys, so after you found the position in which you would like to place your direct-to-film printer, the next move is going to be to plug it in, to insert your ink, and to make sure that your splash zone is correct. Now this is the most important thing before we get started. This is the splash zone. Now obviously it's going to be a bit hard to see, but the most important thing, guys, you can appreciate here is there's a tube, and this is basically the ink that needs to come out of the printer to do the maintenance and all that type of stuff. What we've done is we placed this little plastic to ensure that when the actual tube, you know, sprays ink, it goes on the plastic. So guys, however that works for you, just be conscious that there is splashing that will occur. So like what we did here is we place a sheet of paper and we put our ink inside a little tube like this. What you can do also, it comes with a sponge usually, but you can also just cut up a sponge and have it like this. But the reason we're saying this is because it's going to splash like this, and it's going to create like all these little marks. And if you have like clothing around, it could be very dangerous. And you know, you don't want to wake up one day and realize that the printer's been juicing all over your stuff. So just be cautious of that. But from there, once you've, you know, found out a way to ensure that the splash of the tube doesn't go everywhere, or if it does go everywhere, you have taken the necessary precautions to make sure that you don't wake up one day, like I said, and turn Hulk mode. So just make sure everything's good for that, and the splash zone is corrected, and we're ready to go on to the next step, which is going to be actually filling up your ink and setting up the printer and the software and all that kind of stuff. So let's get into it. Alright guys, now for plugging in the printer. We're going to be using this one for demonstration purposes because this one is like tight to the wall and it's already plugged in. So guys, plug this in. After this is plugged in, plug it into the plug or the extension cord or power bar, whatever works best for you, ideally a small power bar. From there, once you got this plugged in, you can plug in the other part. I'm going to turn on a bit of more brightness for you guys. So you see this little thing right here that goes inside of the printer. This you want to go inside of this little hole right here. I'll show you guys so you can get a better angle and view. There we go, guys. So right here it goes inside, and as you can see, once it's plugged in, you're gonna follow your thing and you're gonna plug it directly into your computer on a USB like this. So yeah guys, as you can see right here, you're gonna be plugging it in. Alright guys, so once your plug is installed, now this is obviously temporary, we're gonna fix it, but it's just to show you guys. Once it's installed, you're gonna put it into a USB like this, as so. After this is plugged in, so your printer is connected to your computer and it's plugged into the wall, you want to put your instructional video in a USB slot, and also your AcroRIP software, whatever one you're using, in a USB slot as well. Perfect guys, we got the two USBs inserted as well as the printer connected to the computer, and our printer is turned on and plugged into the wall. Alright guys, so now we're going to insert the ink inside of the printer. First of all, make sure you guys have all of your ink. You can also take yourself a small funnel. It will help tremendously when inserting the ink. So if you don't have a small funnel, you can also go directly. Just take your time when pouring the ink. If you don't have a funnel, you can just insert the ink as so. I'll be showing you guys without the funnel, so if ever you guys don't have access to a funnel, at least you guys can follow along and do it as I do it as well. Alright guys, so you can open your blue ink. Next step, you want to take your blue ink and slightly shake it. You want to do that like this for around 30 seconds. Now you might be wondering, how much ink do I put inside? I would go around 1/2 to 3/4. So guys, just very slowly, you can insert the ink inside. Perfect guys, so I put around 1/4 just for this demonstration purpose, but if you guys are going to be using this printer steady, I would suggest you guys put it, as I said, 1/2 to 3/4. After that guys, you want to just close the ink for now, and make sure you close your blue ink or whatever color ink you were using, and you're going to do that guys for all of the colors. So you're just going to take your ink, you're going to shake it for around 15 to 30 seconds, just like this. And after it's shook, you can insert the ink, and we'll do that for each and every single color. Alright guys, so we're finished inserting our ink. Now I'll see you guys in the next step before we actually start printing. Guys, the reason I suggest you guys to buy this printer on Amazon is because once you buy it on Amazon, you're actually gonna have technical support from the engineers that make this printer. So from there, they're gonna be able to virtually install the software for your printer via internet. But from there, they should be able to install the software. Also, you're gonna need TeamViewer. Very easy, just go on Google and download TeamViewer, and they're gonna be able to have access to your computer. Guys, I've just shared my TeamViewer key with the engineers. The engineers are now going to install the document, aka the software needed to be able to run my DTF printer. I'm going to be recording, but guys, as mentioned, do go on Amazon, do message the seller that sold you the printer, and from there they will be able to give you their contact information for after sales support. Their after sales support, in my personal opinion and WholePrinting's opinion, is very, very, very phenomenal. They take very, very good care of you. Don't forget, guys, before the engineers start working on your direct-to-film installment of the software, make sure that your direct-to-film printer is plugged into the wall. Your direct-to-film printer is turned on, both the red button and the green button. So we'll go do that together right now. So just to recap, guys, before you text the engineers, make sure the printer is turned on. So the big red button is turned on in the back. As you guys can see, red power button is turned on, the green one is turned on, the printer is ready to print. In theory, we'll even put a page. From there, once the printer is turned on, plugged on, all that type of stuff, you make sure that the cord is going directly into your printer with the USB as mentioned, and you got your two dongles, aka USB sticks, inserted in the USB drives. And there we go, guys. The session has started, and they will begin to install the direct-to-film printing software. Just taking into consideration, guys, that they are 12 hours in advance. From there, once they install the actual software, we'll move on to the next step. Just gonna let this play out so you guys can, you know, follow through. If ever you guys, for some reason, if you guys are having any trouble, I'll let it play through. There's not gonna be any audio. From there, the engineers are gonna install the AcroRIP software, and I'll see you guys in the next step. And there you go, guys. The engineers have finished installing the AcroRIP software. Alright guys, so now we're going to be playing with the AcroRIP settings. From here, what you want to do, guys, is you want to let this pretty much the same thing. But from here, we're going to go into the actual printer. And we just want to change, guys, the roll feed to sheet. Because for us, it's going to be sheets and not the roll feeder. So we're just going to change that. Make sure you have these same settings, guys. From here at color, I personally like to put, this is what I personally like to put, and something like this. And from here, I like to put 100% white, any colored pixel. And yeah, that looks pretty much good. Color, perfect, guys. So we'll walk through the settings one more time. This is the layout, nothing changed. This is the printer. We just changed the feeding option. This is the color. I personally changed the color in the white percentage. And this is the white ink control. We haven't changed anything. Just make sure this is 100% white under any colored pixel. Perfect, guys. So your settings are perfect. You're ready technically to print out a test sheet. Before you print out a sheet, we're going to insert the ink inside of your printer and load up a sheet. So I'll see you guys there. Déjà en train de fumer, fin pas couvrir ça. Alright guys, so after you've inserted your ink inside of the printer, now you want to shake all of your inks, as so. Shake them for around 15 seconds each. You want to do that with each and every single color. Do make sure they are all properly closed. Perfect. After all of your ink tanks have been shook, you can open up your direct-to-film printer like this. And now what you want to do, guys, is you want to take your syringe, and you're going to have to wash it each and every single time unless you have different syringes. But basically you want to be pulling each and every single one of your inks. We'll start with the yellow one and we'll move on. But you want to also have this open at the same time. Now for me, this closes, so what I like to do, guys, is I'll just put a pencil like this. It's going to keep it open while I put my ink. So it's just keeping this open. We'll start with the yellow one. Perfect, guys. After that, you want to take your yellow ink and just put it back inside here. Perfect. Once that is done, take your syringe, put it on your plastic right here, and you can insert your injector back in its place. Take your time when inserting the injector. Perfect. So yellow is done. After that, you want to be moving on to the black one. So what you'll do, you'll take this syringe, you can go dispose of it and wash it, and you can close your yellow. Yellow is done. Make sure it goes properly inside of its treads. Close it tightly, and then you're moving on to the black one. You can dispose of your syringe. Perfect. New syringe, guys. We're going to open up our black ink. Same thing. Perfect, guys. Insert your injector nice and slow. There we go. Make sure that this doesn't happen, guys, so just like this. After that, you can put your black ink back inside, and you're done with the black. You can close off and dispose of your syringe. Perfect, guys. Now for the white ink, it doubles as two, so you're going to open up your white ink and go here. It's gonna fill up like this. So there we go, guys. We're gonna do that one more time. You can place your syringe next to your direct-to-film printer, insert your injector back in its place, and we're gonna do this with the other white one. Same thing. guys. Perfect. Dispose of your syringe, and after that close your white ink. We're moving on to the red ink. Open up the red ink, get yourself a new syringe, and open up the red ink injector. And there we go, we just did a little mess. We'll show you guys how to clean it. Just pull like this, same thing as the other one, as so. Insert, dispose, reinsert your injector, and clean up the mess right away before it's too late. Just grab a Kleenex. Make sure it's moist, so put a bit of water like this. You don't want this interfering with your print if it dries up. It's not of the end of the world if there's a bit, guys, but since it's pretty much new, we'll keep it clean. After that, you can close your red ink, and we only have the blue left. Alright guys, dispose of your syringe and grab yourself a new or washed syringe. And if you do decide to wash them, guys, make sure there's no more moisture in it. So make sure you do this a bunch of times to take off all of the water. Alright guys, open up the blue, open up the injector, and we're ready to go. Perfect guys, there we go. Insert it back into the blue, put your syringe on your plastic, reinsert your injector in its proper place. There we go guys, and then you can close off your blue ink. Dispose of your syringe. After you've disposed of your syringe, you can close off this. Everything is done, and you can close this. And you can turn on your direct-to-film printer, and we can move on to the next step, guys. So guys, after the printer is turned on, you can insert a sheet inside the printer. Now guys, remember I mentioned to you guys that always keep your sheets print side up. So I'm going to put my thumb, and where I'm keeping my thumb, guys, is the way that the sheet needs to go inside of the printer. So this is the side that the printer is going to be printing on, where my thumb is. So like I said, guys, printer, it's going to be feeding inside, and it's going to be printing where my thumb was. Perfect guys, now that the page is inside of the printer, we can proceed to the next step. Alright guys, you can open up your AcroRIP software. Perfect guys, installation was successful, finishing the updates right now. And now we got our test image that we're going to be printing. Alright guys, file, open, file and open. From there you want to open up your file. We're going to do dark garments. Alright guys, now you can move your file. I want it right here in the middle. File, and then right here you guys will see that you have a few options. I want you guys to run a head cleaning, F12. It's going to ask you, click yes. So now what's going to happen is the printer, it's going to do a head cleaning, so F12. After that guys, you're going to be able to print. What I want you to do after that, your printer it's doing its head cleaning, F12, I want you guys to mirror. You can also go here guys, edit, and you guys will see mirror. Once it's highlighted in blue, it means it's been mirrored. So right now it's mirrored guys. As you guys can see, the settings are still the same. If you go here to file and print, F10 guys, so file, print, F10. Perfect guys, so you're ready to print. It's doing its head cleaning. The next step guys, I just want you to start your oven so you get a head start. It does take quite some time for the oven to start, so you're going to start your oven and or your heat press if you're going to be pressing. Alright guys, so let's talk about preparing your DTF sheet. So I have a free download link in the description, and from there it's going to open up a page that looks something like this. When you open up the page, you're going to realize that there's a watermark on top. and there's a watermark on the bottom. I highly suggest you guys open this file up in Photoshop. I also have the PSD, so you guys are going to be able to actually, you know, put this a bit smaller if it's taking too much space. And also you guys will be able to, you know, maybe take off the watermark if you want at the top and just keep the bottom watermark for that, you know, 4 centimeters that it's not going to print, because do realize, guys, you can't put any artwork right here. So that's why here is pretty much where I stopped, because if not, it's not going to print this area. It's around 4 centimeters. I like to give around 1.5 inches to 2 inches of leeway, so mostly 2 inches that I don't put anything at the bottom. So that's pretty much my tips and tricks. And obviously, guys, Photoshop is going to be very, very essential if you are going to be DTF printing. So just a big disclaimer, and let's get right into the settings. So these are my settings for the Panda printer. I also have the AcroRIP software, the older version, for the first version of the printer that I got, which is actually the printer behind the Panda printer, which is like the white and blue one with the blue top, transparent. And that printer actually has an older version of the AcroRIP software, which actually can put the white percentage to 200 and the color percentage to obviously 200. In this case, we are maxed out at 100 and maxed out at 100 here. In my case, I just leave the regular settings, which are from DTF 1390. These settings seems to work fine for me at this current moment. If ever they change, obviously I will update the course, but as of now the prints are coming out immaculate. If you do raise the white ink percentage, it just makes the print, you know, feel a bit more thick, and that's not necessarily what we are looking for in our prints. We don't necessarily want to feel them too much, so that 70% white is really good. It really looks still vibrant, and that 65% color is still very, very vibrant and contrasty, if that makes sense. Like it pops, you know. So this is pretty much the settings that we use on the side right here. And then if you look at our white, you guys can copy the settings right here. Nothing too special, 100% white under any colored pixel. This is the most important one. And then from there, if you look at printer, some people have it at bidirectional, unidirectional. We use bidirectional. And after that, roll feed, we actually use sheet. And from there, that's pretty much it. You just want to make sure that everything is properly connected. If ever you guys do have issues connecting the printer, installing the software, do not panic, guys. Take a deep breath. I know how you feel. Just contact the engineers, and you might be wondering, how can I contact the engineers? If you guys bought the printer on Amazon, which I suggest that you guys do, and you actually go ahead and spend the few $1,000s that it is extra to actually have the company build the printer for you, give you the AcroRIP software, and most of all, guys, most important of all, why you want to buy it on Amazon is because if ever there's a problem, you can return it. And most of all, if ever there is a problem and you can't connect it, you can't install the software, the engineers will take the time to help you, and they will take the time to fix the problem if you are patient with them. The only thing to take into consideration is you need to contact the seller on Amazon once you've bought the printer, so they can help you to install the software. And if ever you run into problems, they can assist you virtually. Just take into consideration to be patient with them, because they also have a 12-hour time difference. So when I'm communicating with the engineers, it's often 12 hours later for them in the day. So let's say for me it's 9 p.m. For them it's 9 a.m. the second day, just to give you an idea. Or like even sometimes 10 a.m., like 13 hours in advance. So that's pretty much the settings. Let's do a file and then print. These are the settings before we print, guys. We want to do white color. Take that box off. You want to click copies here. One. Click white color again. And this, sorry for the cat in the background, guys. And after that, you want to make sure you have 100% white colored under any, sorry, my cat is distracting. You want to make sure you have this selected. After that, you want to make sure that it looks something like this. These settings can change. You can make your own little verdict on what you prefer. Just make sure that this is copy one, this is on, and this is on, this is on. And then you can do print. Alright guys, so the head cleaning is done. Takes around 5 to 10 minutes. You're ready to print. These are the exact printing settings we'll be using. And then you can click print. Now guys, these are the settings I'm using for the oven. I'm using it at 123 degrees Celsius for 82 seconds. Some people use it a bit lower. I would suggest, if you want, you guys can start at this temperature. My oven actually has a few years under the belt, so this might be more appropriate, you know, 112, 111, even anywhere from like 108 Celsius. And you can go all the way up to maybe something like this if your oven is brand new, like the oven we have right here. We're using this one because we want to use it to its maximum ability before we throw it out, because it is getting old and we feel like the heating element inside the oven is not converting as it was when it was new, obviously. So we're using this one to the maximum of its ability, and then we're going to throw it out. But you guys can use 112 settings for the Celsius, and we want to do 82 seconds. And what I like to do, I'll show you guys soon, but we put the sheet inside, we let it bake for 82 seconds on one side, and then we turn the sheet, and then we do the second 82 seconds. One big thing, guys, always be around your oven when you're using it. You want to make sure that if ever you do have to go away and leave the oven unattended, unfortunately you guys will have to turn it off, because you don't want to leave this oven you know, just cooking all day, because it can lead to a spark in the back. And my thing in the back actually burnt because the oven overheated. So be very wary and careful of leaving this machine unattended. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into the next segment. Alright guys, so the sheet is done printing. Oh no, my sheet didn't print. That might be a reality right now, and if it is, I understand you. You might be frustrated right now. What you can do if it's not printing successfully, like I said, do contact the engineers first thing first, so you can get actual help with this. And if not, just go back in the course. As you can see, it's an in-depth course, and we're still uploading videos as we go right now. So there will also be future courses on Skillshare on my channel, bringing you guys closer and closer to troubleshooting this printer if ever you guys run into problems. But without further ado, let's look at the print. So this is what happens if you don't do the head cleaning, and this can lead to bigger problems in the future, guys. As you can see right here, there's no white on top, and this can lead to clogging if you don't do your head cleaning. So make sure you guys do F12 before you print. Now you want to take your sheet and insert it inside of the powder. I'm going to give you guys a nice angle. This is where we keep our white DTF powder. You want to take your sheet as so, insert it and scoop it. The way I like to describe it is like a snowplow, and then shake. Shake and make sure that all of the powder goes on all of the backing. I like to do this 3 times. So scoop a second time like a snowplow. Shake. One last time, guys. And then we just like to shake the excess off, and we even like to pinch it like this. So this just removes any excess. We do this a few times. We change our grip. Now, obviously, I've been doing this for 2 years, so I have like a nice way of manipulating the sheets. You might not be able to manipulate them as well. Don't get discouraged. Just take your time when shaking and hold it tight. But main thing, guys, just make sure there's powder everywhere on the sheet and that it's completely covered with the powder. You don't want there to be any like ink left, if that makes sense. You want it to be all like covered. So next step, guys, you want to insert it inside of the oven. Make sure you click start, And now you want to wait 82 seconds, and after the 82 seconds stops, we're going to turn it around. Also guys, big thing, make sure your vent is open. There's smoke coming out, and also ideally close to a window. Open the window, and we're going to have a fan soon blowing out the air. So we don't actually breathe in these toxic fumes, because it's basically like plastic burning when you think about it. Plastic, ink, all type of chemicals. You don't want that. So we're closing up guys. 9 seconds, 8 seconds left, and so forth and so on. We're going to turn the sheet. I like to stop it just beforehand, because as you're going to hear, it's very, very aggressive. The sound there, I hate it so much. Stop. You're going to stop it. You want to open this up. Be careful. I wear a mask guys. I'm not wearing one right now, but do wear a mask. Like, there's no excuses. I'm doing this with one hand guys, so sorry for the angle. You want to open this up. We just flipped the sheet around, as you guys saw. So the sheet was this way, we just flipped it this way. We want to wait another 82 seconds, and then the sheet is going to be completed. While you wait for the sheet to cook, you can turn on your heat press. So guys, we're closing up. We're going to close it before. In our case, we're done printing for now. We're going to turn off the oven. Now, before you actually maybe turn off the oven, depending on your temperature settings, this is how you know it's baked. Right here, it's not properly baked, guys. There's something, the camera's not picking it up, but I can still see powder. As you can see here, maybe you can't see it properly on the camera, but it looks like craters. It really looks nice. Like, there's no more powder. It's really like a solid state. Here, there's still some powder. Here, there's still some powder. Here, there's a lot of powder. A bit of powder on top here. So this is going to cause a lot of problems when peeling off the sheet. So this is a no-go. What we want to do, guys, is I'm just going to turn around the sheet like this. Since the oven is off anyways, I'm just going to place the sheet like this where there was some powder. And I'm looking down right here. I also have a lot of powder here. So I'm going to cook it a bit in the front, and then we're going to turn it around to cook the last bit of powder right here. This is maybe not going to occur if your oven is brand new. This is what we're dealing with sometimes with the older oven. How you know when it's properly cooked? You're going to rub your finger slightly on the print, and it's going to be really nice, and it's not going to be powdery or flaky. If it's flaky and powdery, it's not properly cooked. We're almost done, guys, on the front end. Perfect, guys. This looks really good. I'm going to touch it slightly just to see. Yeah, this is nice. We're going to place the bottom end now. And after that, we're going to be done. This is not printable anyways, but it's uncomparable compared to how powdery it was. Now it's all cooked. You can feel it. That's what you want, guys. Alright, guys, so in this case, we won't lie to you. Since the oven is cooling down, we're not able to get this to be powdered. It's okay. We have a few more prints anyways, so we don't necessarily need this one. We're going to discard it. No, do not print it if it's still powdery. It's not going to stick properly. So, guys, this is where the cutter comes in hand. What we like to do, this. So we separate our front prints from the back one. We also take off the watermarks, obviously. And then this is ready to go, guys. And this is ready to go. So yeah, guys, let's get right into the next segment. Alright, guys, now I'll be showing you guys how to properly cure your sheet if you don't have access to an oven. So make sure the heat press is at 280 degrees all the way up to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Anywhere between that range will work. And you want to use the timer for whatever time you'd like, but we suggest around 82 seconds, and we're going to do that for a little while. So the first thing we want to do, guys, is we want to apply powder on the sheet. So the sheet is ready. We're going to place it on the heat press. Now we're using a not good sheet because we're going to be discarding this one. We don't need it anymore when peeling off the sheet. And instead of looking something like this, guys, you might be experiencing something that looks a bit more like this, where you have these micro tears going on and cracking up happening. This type of stuff you really don't want in direct film printing. Is going to ruin your experience, and there's a lot of variables that can cause this type of stuff. Hall of shame, guys. But be very wary and careful when you start. A lot of things can make this variable that I just shown you guys apply, so don't get discouraged if you're not getting a print like this right off the bat, you know. So it's under the heat press. Let's start it. Gonna come down like this, And you just want it to hover, you don't want it to touch. I like to do this for around 80 seconds. Be careful for it not to stick on the heat press. This is mostly going to be a problem in the back, so this is why you want to hover and make sure that you have around an inch in the back, because this is why we're going to be flipping it around so it gets an even cure on both sides. Right now we're closing up on 44 seconds. I'm going to open it up, and we're just going to flip it around as so, guys. Also, guys, for your information, there's also better ways of doing this if you have a specific heat press just to cure these actual sheets. But this is just a quick way of doing it if you don't have the oven and want to try it. Want to try the actual DTF method. Now we've done the both sides. I like actually to go on this side now, like this. Another 44 seconds, guys. And then you probably guessed it, guys, once this 44 seconds is up, we're going to do another side, so the side that we're missing, and we're basically going to have cured all 4 sides. And this is just like my settings, guys. Do your own test. The main takeaway is you want to make sure you have craters and no longer have powder. If you still have powder, it's not properly cured. Alright, guys, so we're closing up on the final press, and again, main takeaway, this might not be cured enough for you. Please do your own testing. The way you're going to see if it's not properly cured is it's still going to be powdery. For us, it's perfect, but in your case, it might be still powdery, and if it is still powdery, you're going to want to do another turn, and do as many turns as you need until it's really, really nice and even all the way through. And don't worry too much about overcooking. However, if you do overcook, you'll realize that it starts to ripple the page, and before that it starts to get yellowish, the print. So on this side the white is going to get like yellow, so just look out for that, guys. Alright, guys, so let's press the sheet. The heat press is at the proper temperature of 289 degrees. You can go anywhere from 280 degrees Fahrenheit all the way to 320 degrees Fahrenheit. We like to do it for 44 seconds. You can go all the way up to 320 degrees Fahrenheit for 55 seconds, and you'll still get a fantastic result. This is just what works best for us with the pressure we apply and the settings we use, all that type of good stuff. We have this little bench right here that we like to get up on and actually use some force and some actual leverage to be able to apply more pressure on the garment. We like to apply heavy pressure. So right now, guys, what we're doing, we're gonna go get a nice little bag that we want to print on right now, and this is gonna be what we're printing on for today. So we're just gonna take this and we are gonna go put some art on this tote bag right here. So first thing you guys want to do, place the tote bag on the heat press like this, and then you just want to center it by eye. Make sure it's like nicely on the press. You want to make sure that these seams, whatever you are printing on, whether that be a t-shirt, whether that be a tote bag, whether that be a hoodie, that any seams are not on the actual heat press platen. Let's say that you have something like this going on, right? Let's say you have a nice big seam and it's on the platen. Well, if your print is there and you have something like this going on, what do you think is going to happen? There's not going to be a proper contact on the actual logo. It's going to be really hard for you when you go to peel it to get that proper contact. So make sure that there's no seams, and if there is, make sure to go buy some Teflon pillows. Amazon links in descriptions as usual. So now that we've cut up our logo, it's really easy and simple. We just grab this right here. So what you guys want to do, use this measuring tape. Now I'm filming this alone, guys, so sorry for the angle, but you just want to take a measurement of the top of the logo, so where it starts. Here I have 4 inches. I'll just measure it for myself first, and then I'll report back to you guys just to make sure it is centered. 2 and 1, 2 and a half, so a bit like this. Alright guys, so we got a centered print right here. So now it's centered guys. So what I did basically is I'm just taking this, I go to my furthest extremity of the print, so right here, I center here, I place it like this, I take a look where it stops, and I take a look here at this black part right here where it stops. I have the same thing on both ends. Take it right here where the logo starts, measure up to here, take it here where the logo ends, and measure to the bottom. Pretty straightforward. And also obviously take a look by eye. I like to lift this when I'm printing t-shirts. Just gives me a better idea of where it's going to look when it's on the back or on the front of the t-shirt. So, you know, just lifting the collar or whatever you're printing on just to get a better look. Look straight, everything looks perfect. Place your Teflon paper over it without making the logo move. Apply good to high pressure for 44 seconds at 290 or the settings that we previously mentioned, whatever works best for you. Apply good pressure and we'll report back in 1 second. So I am applying good pressure, like, and we're closing up guys. Remove the Teflon paper. Remove it from the heat press. Place it on a surface that is cold. What I like to do with a cloth, because it is very hot, very hot, I like to just pat it down as so to make sure that everything is well sticking. So this is good guys. Now you want to wait around 1 minute for it to be a bit more cold, for it to go smoother when you're going to peel it off. Most sheets are cold peel. In our case it's a warm to cold peel, but we're going to wait a bit and we're going to cold peel it. So right now this should be good. You might have to wait a bit longer just to be safe guys. Wait around a minute. Hey guys, now this is how to properly peel off your sheet. You've waited 1 to 2 minutes, however long it's been. Now a few key takeaways. You want to put some pressure on the extremity of where you're going to be peeling. When you peel, you want to go in a straightforward motion and go with the flow. You don't want to stop and stutter. You just want to go one shot and pull. And when you peel, you want to go ass to grass. The way I see this is you're placing pressure on the sheet and try to do a kind of a roll back while applying pressure against the print. So you're kind of using the paper to apply pressure on the print while taking it off. This is the best way I can like vocally explain it. And also I know the angle isn't perfect, but guys, main takeaway, apply nice pressure against the towards you, so coming towards where you want to be peeling, and go with the flow. Don't like stutter with it. It can cause problems. And if ever it stops, stop. Don't yank it, because if you yank it, it means that it's not properly pressed or not properly cooked, or there's something with the print that's not making it stick properly to the garment or whatever you're printing on. So make sure that you go with the flow. We're going to try it, and even in this example guys, you might have some print cracking, you might have some things going wrong. Don't get discouraged guys. This is the most hardest part of DTF printing, the peeling process, in my opinion. This is where you'll get the most of your problems. So just peel off. Don't think too much about it, and there you go guys. In my case, obviously it's black on black, but it's really nice guys, the details that we're able to get. And like obviously this is all black on black, but really nice, really vibrant print, and it just feels amazing guys. It's so soft. So what you want to do, we are not done. You can discard of this. This is no longer good. You want to take your tote bag or whatever you're printing on, you want to place it back on the heat press as so. And then we'll move on to the last and final step. Cover your item over with a Teflon paper, and you're gonna finally repress it for the last time. And this is the repress stage. The repress stage is around 20 to like 25 seconds. You want to apply good to hard pressure and really get that ink inside of the fabric. Make sure that it doesn't crack and last many washes. I wait around 23 seconds since we started at 44. Release. Remove Teflon paper, and you've got a finished product guys. Really nice. And that was pretty much guys how to take your direct to film printer from the crate all the way to a print. If you guys found this tutorial and this class somewhat helpful, guys, make sure to leave a like. So guys, that was pretty much it. My name is Dominic and I own WHOLEPRINTING Inc. I'm really blessed to be in this position to be able to educate you guys on the direct-to-film community and also on the direct-to-film process. The way I see it is the direct-to-film community is a nice way to be educated and to learn as we go. I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. I'm just some guy learning as I go, reporting back to you guys with these videos. And if you find it somewhat helpful, a like, a comment is really appreciated, because we will make more courses, more YouTube videos, and more content to help you guys on the DTF journey. Because honestly guys, I wish some sort of course like this existed when I first started 2 years ago, because honestly a course like this would have been really helpful for me. Honestly, I almost quit DTF printing like 100 times. I'm really proud that I kept going, because it's gonna make a really big difference in the long run. This is a new technology and direct-to-film is just starting. So if you guys are patient and willing to learn, I think direct-to-film is gonna bless you with so many opportunities. Happy printing, guys. Thank you so much for watching this course and this class. I'll see you all in the next one. This was Dom from WHOLEPRINTING Inc. Make a print you'll never forget.